There's nothing like rivalry week in college football. Our friends at J&J Apparel have released two awesome designs for two of the best rivalry matchups in the South. The Egg Bowl 2025 shirt features a hand-drawn design of the Golden Egg Trophy, available in colors for both Rebels and Bulldog fans. And of course, there's the Iron Bowl 2025 design for our Alabama and Auburn fans. Both shirts are available for a limited time only, so run on over to J&J Apparel's site and get it while you still can. The pre-sale ends December the 1st. Don't miss out. Shop at jnjapparel.net. Once again, that is jnjapparel.net for the Egg Bowl 2025 shirt and the Iron Bowl 2025 shirt, available through J&J Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. That's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. And with that, I want to welcome you inside the pre-show of the Stingray Show for this Monday. And this, of course, is post-Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving out there, as well as a wonderful weekend. And for anybody out there that celebrates it, happy December to you guys, as this is the final month of the 2025 year before we go to 2026. And of course, this is also the month that Christmas is in, and we've got a lot to talk about today. And hopefully my co-host Heath Hopkins will be joining me very soon, as he was on vacation all last week down in Key West, Florida, down there soaking up some rays, and he honestly had to travel back on Wednesday, which is the busiest travel day of the year. I cannot wait to hear about that from him, what it was like traveling on Wednesday of last week before we get to Thanksgiving. And we've got a lot to talk about with the coaching carousel on this edition of the Stingray Show, because we have a lot of hirings, and this morning we've actually got a firing that just took place. There is breaking news off the top of the show that Mark Stoops has officially been fired by the Kentucky Wildcats. Mitch Barnhart put out a statement earlier this morning saying that we have announced that we are going to move in a different direction from Mark Stoops, effective immediately. We really do want to thank him for his 13 years of service here at Kentucky, but we really want to be successful, and it is critical that we are successful in college football. And unfortunately, Mark Stoops ended his career at Kentucky with a record of 82 wins and 80 losses. So Mark Stoops is no longer the longest tenured head coach in the SEC, as he has been let go effective this morning up there at Kentucky. Heath, how are things with you this morning? And can you believe it? We have a lot of coaching madness right now in the SEC.
Stephen, it's wonderful to be back, but my burning question is, are there any coaches left in the American Conference? Because it seems like every coach of the American has gotten a job in the SEC or somewhere else. I bet the SEC is just raiding. It's a pipeline, the American Conference. And so they're just going and taking anything and everything. But, Stephen, it's great to be back. It's been a crazy morning this morning. I'm a little bit out of breath running and trying to get everything going. But, Stephen, did I miss anything over the weekend?
Yes, a lot.
Is this not the craziest weekend? I mean, we had the Texas A&M game. There was supposedly a jersey stolen out of the Ole Miss locker room. Who puts up hundreds, thousands of dollars of equipment and leaves the door unlocked in a stadium that you can't get into, that the police station is attached to, with alarms and cameras everywhere, and yet you claim that there was a shirt stolen, but there's no charges being made, and someone records it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't buy
Yeah.
it. But we had that. We had the Texas A&M game. That was crazy. I mean, the Iron Bowl was fun. I mean, Stephen, there was so much that happened this weekend. But the one thing, and we'll get to the Lane Kiffin stuff. Oh, boy, will we. But the one thing I don't understand with Kentucky, as you were talking about, look, John Summerall, very beloved at Kentucky, played linebacker at Kentucky, Kentucky graduate, loves Kentucky. A lot of people thought he'd be the next head coach at Kentucky. And here he is waiting, and he's one of the prettiest girls at the dance. And everybody's talking to him, and there's a lot of people wanting him on their staff. And Kentucky doesn't make a move, and he gets announced as the next head coach at Florida.
Yep.
And then just a couple hours later, Kentucky's like, oh, by the way, we're going to fire a coach now.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Kentucky, I just think that was highly unprepared, and you don't have a plan. And the story will come out. We don't know the story yet. The truth always comes out. But I got a great feeling Stoops was getting pressure, like, you need to make these changes to your staff. You need to do, this. You need to bring this offensive coordinator in. You need to start running this kind of offense. You need to start doing blah, blah, blah. And Stoops was like, nope, not going to do it.
Right.
I'm not doing any of that. And we don't know if that's the case, but that just kind of seems like the answer right now. So, but it looks like Kentucky's completely unprepared, completely.
All right, Heath, let's do that. Let's continue that in the real show, but let's go ahead briefly and talk about the National Day of today and the national history of today. And today, oddly enough, is December the 1st. And with December the 1st, it is National Pie Day. Now, I'm not talking about pie r squared. I'm talking about your favorite dessert, pie. So today is National Pie Day. So I did a little bit of research. Can you tell me, through the percent of sales in 2024, what is the most popular pie in the United States?
Ooh. You'd have to think like a chocolate pie or a lemon ice, but probably not lemon ice box, and probably not key lime, which is my favorite. And boy, did I have a lot of it in Key West. We'll get to that later too. I had more pie last week than I've had in probably the last 6 years. I'm going to go chocolate, Stephen. I have no idea. I'm just going to say a chocolate pie, like a chocolate silk pie. That just seems like they're always sold out of it at Waffle House. So that's what I'm going to go with.
The percent of sales for 2024 at 29%, apple pie was the popular pie in the United States. Now, I did break it down to state by state. Can you tell me which one is the favorite in the state of Mississippi?
Probably pecan pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a no-brainer. That is a
all right.
no-brainer. Are you a sweet potato pie fan, Stephen?
What now?
Are you a sweet potato pie fan?
No.
I didn't think you were.
No.
Yeah.
Now, all right, here's one that shocked me. Can you tell me what is the favorite pie in the state of Alabama?
I would guess pecan pie too. No? You're doing some crack research. You have those interns on our research staff just really going at it with this pie stuff. What is the most popular pie in Alabama the Beautiful?
Buttermilk pie.
What
I've never heard of that either.
That's fake news, man. I don't know where.
Buttermilk pie, and I'm just like, what?
I've never heard of buttermilk pie.
No. But I will tell you, Florida, their number one is key lime.
Not a shocker.
Yep.
And brother, I almost put them out of business last week. So, yeah. Dude, I don't know what it is about Key West and key lime pie. Of course, that's where it all started. But man, they do it right. It's so crazy how many different ways you can do key lime pie,
Yes.
and they're all excellent. They're all great.
All right. So, Heath, that is going to wrap up the pre-show. Are you ready to get into the coaching carousel and the saga that was this past weekend with one individual?
Gosh, Steven, I have no clue who we could be talking about.
All right. Right after this commercial from one of our awesome and wonderful advertisers, we are going to start the Stingray Show. And on this edition, we're going to be joined by Kevin Bohanna of hogsports.com, and David Johnson, Ole Miss Insider, is on deck right after this. We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. Out goes Lane Kiffin to LSU. Ole Miss acted really promptly and promoted Pete Golding there to the head coach for the playoffs. What is the fallout from Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss? We are going to find out with David Johnson, the Ole Miss Insider, right after this open. And then we also had Ryan Silverfield, formerly of the Memphis Tigers, hired by Arkansas, and there are Arkansas fans that are livid about that hire. Later on, Kevin Bohanna, hogsports.com, joins us to talk about all of that and the Arkansas Razorbacks coming up on this edition of the Stingray Show.
Hi, this is Tim Brando with a reminder. Look out, you're about to feel the buzz of Stingray.
This is Stephen Ray, a.k.a. Stingray, coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I'm Heath Hopkins. I'm here in DeSoto County, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis, Tennessee. You know, Mark, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you feel that responsibility to pay it forward and give some kid a chance coming up in the ranks, kind of like Tony did for you?
Why do you think I'm talking to Stingray tonight?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
No, I mean, look, no.
Heath, Stingray, Here's the deal. When you get involved with Texas, it's like getting married to a stripper. and let me explain this. It looks good. It's kind of sexy on the surface. Yeah. But then you get the baggage, you get the drama, you get all that eventually comes with it. And that's what you get with Texas, and that's what the Big 12 learned.
And Heath, any thoughts on our show moving forward?
Hey, with the Stingray Show, if you don't like it, you better learn to love it, because it's the best show going today, baby. Woo!
And with that, we want to welcome you back inside the Stingray Show. And of course, everybody had to live through the saga of Lane Kiffin, Florida, LSU, or staying at Ole Miss. We had to listen to that for 2 weeks. He drug it out like a drama queen, and then yesterday he tried to burn down Ole Miss and Oxford out the door, going to LSU. It was a really bad look on his part, but what can you expect from a guy like Lane Kiffin, who has a track record of doing this before, in the see you later in the middle of the night, with him going to USC from Tennessee? So to talk about the future of Ole Miss in the playoffs, with Pete Golding as the new guy there at Ole Miss, here is Ole Miss insider and our good friend, Mr. David Johnson. David, first off, let me say to you, hopefully you and yours had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and please give us a recap now of the crazy Lane Kiffin saga that drug out way too long.
Yeah, it's kind of like in your intro where Olin says, following Texas to a stripper.
Yes.
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 I guess there's good and bad with that, guys. But, I want to start off this conversation by first commending athletics director Keith Carter and Chancellor Glenn Boyce for the move they made on Sunday. It was absolutely brilliant. I think that by promoting Pete Golding, not to an interim head coach, but to the permanent head coach, is going to help keep this roster together. It's going to help keep this coaching staff together, and it's going to allow Ole Miss to quickly move into preparation for a playoff game. And signing day is Wednesday. I think it's going to save signing day as well. There'll be a few defections. Corey Barber, the wide receiver from Alabama, already gone, and I would think you're in danger of losing the quarterback commit, Reese Weiss, but he hasn't decommitted yet. And this is a lot for those kids to handle this close to signing day. But like the rest of us, I mean, they've known what's going on here. They expected Kiffin to depart. And he did try to play the victim on the way out of town. Oh, they wouldn't let me coach the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Again, a strong decision by AD Keith Carter, Chancellor Glenn Boyce, to stand up to this nonsense and end it all in one swift motion. Lane's gone, Pete Golding's in, let's play ball, spot the ball. And, I think today, honestly, there is a feeling of relief within the Ole Miss community that a guy like Lane Kiffin is out, and he's now LSU's problem. And a guy like Pete Golding, who I've known for 25 years, is in, and he is a totally different character, a different man than Lane Kiffin. And I expect you're going to see those kind of changes within the Ole Miss football program immediately. And not to say Kiffin didn't do a good job. Obviously, he did a great job. But he ended up running out on Ole Miss like he ran out on Tennessee. And, I go back to when he was hired, and my message board was full of posts from Tennessee fans going, in the end, you will be sorry. And, I'm not sorry Lane Kiffin was here because Ole Miss is 11-1. They're going to the college football playoff. And to think that was even possible 6 years ago is absolutely
Right.
Crazy. I mean, here we are. And this is a really good job now. Okay. I mean, you've got a former Nick Saban coordinator and a former Ole Miss coordinator now as the head coach. And, I'm excited about the future. And I think all Ole Miss fans should be. Yes, there is a sigh of relief this morning that the Kiffin saga is over.
Yes.
And that this football team can concentrate on beating whoever they're paired with. I think they're going to host the game in the first round of the college football playoffs. So, we'll see a poll tomorrow night, and we'll see one next Sunday after all the games are played. So, hopefully they stay inside that top 8, and I see no reason they wouldn't. Let's go from there. As a matter of fact, I think the committee has a couple of things wrong, having both Oregon and Texas Tech. That's my cat, by the way. I apologize. Just flashed across the screen there. Oregon and Texas Tech in front of Ole Miss. I don't get it.
I'll push back on that one a little bit, David, and I get you on the Oregon, but Texas Tech has beaten multiple ranked teams, and basically the only win that Ole Miss has is Oklahoma, and that win's looking better and better each week as Oklahoma's gotten stronger throughout the season. But yeah, that's the thing that I would push back on.
Well, Ole Miss has victories over 2 teams in the 12-team field, Oklahoma, and don't forget about Tulane. And John Sumrall is going to coach them throughout the college football playoffs. Ole Miss has an 8-point loss to, I think, the team that's going to be number 3 in the next poll, the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. You always hear this talk about who's got the best loss. I think Ole Miss has the best loss.
I'm with you on that.
It's my cat again. And my phone's going off. I apologize. I think I could argue with you on the Texas Tech deal. I really do. And I think I could argue with you on the Oregon deal. We saw how bad Indiana kicked Oregon's butt. Not a good loss for them at all. Ole Miss has their best win over Oklahoma, their next best win over Georgia. Not Oklahoma, then Tulane. Their best loss, an 8-point road loss to the Georgia Bulldogs in a game, I'll remind you, they were leading by 9 points in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
David Johnson's our guest from 247 Sports, covers the Rebels. David, one thing I want to ask you is this whole thing with coaching, and you touched on it right there. Tulane's going to let their coach do it. Ole Miss isn't. I see both sides of the story. I've heard all the talking heads on television, coaches that have won it all, players, everybody talking about he should, he shouldn't, he should, he shouldn't. Lane should coach this team, he shouldn't. I see both sides. I think Ole Miss has more of a chance of winning if he does coach. I think there's more chance of players staying with the program if he does coach. I also understand the reason why they chose not to coach. Your thoughts on that whole situation of not letting Lane coach this team? Because I think that really hurts Ole Miss's chances of winning in this postseason.
Man, you couldn't do that. You couldn't have your setting head coach who would no doubt be recruiting for a conference rival the entire time. And think of it like this, Heath. Every game Ole Miss would play in the college football playoffs would basically be a 3.5-hour commercial for LSU.
Yes.
Every single game. Lane Kiffin's going to LSU, blah, blah, blah. And, where's the functionality of that? We know Kiffin is a bloodthirsty recruiter, period.
Oh, yeah.
And look, he would be recruiting kids left and right. I think everybody knew that. I think that was the biggest factor. I don't think Ole Miss felt like they could trust leaving Lane Kiffin at the head of this program, with a purple and gold Mardi Gras medallion in his pocket. I mean, that's I think that's the bottom line. And also, getting back to the actions of Keith Carter and Chancellor Boyce, they fully understood the time pressure of a head coach. They could not have a search. They knew that. With signing day coming up, the portal opening up, you're trying to maintain your own roster. They went from within. I think they went with the best guy. I actually had the honor of covering Pete when he was playing at Delta State.
Right.
And he is a super duper guy, really a super duper guy. I just, and look, I want to say this, I want to point this out. Right now, so you figure Pete's got to name a defensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, his college head coach, a guy named Ron Roberts, who was the defensive coordinator at Florida and the assistant head coach until Napier got fired, doesn't have a job. And would Pete consider bringing Ron to Oxford? I don't know. I think he would move here very quickly. And I know all these guys. Like I said, I covered Pete. Ron and I used to coach Little League baseball together. So he's a great guy. And then another guy who's kind of out there on the limb, Pete's going to need a general manager.
Yeah.
And because Glasscock is going to LSU. The guy that was the GM this year at Kennesaw State, who will be playing in the postseason, is Mike Kershaw, the former head coach at Mississippi College. Kershaw did an excellent job at Kennesaw State this year. He was the Delta State coach that recruited Pete Golding to Cleveland to play at DSU. And, and he also recruited Scott Eister and Ryan Barker, all three of those guys, division. So, it's a relatively small world. But we'll see what happens with the staff moving forward. But to answer your question, Heath, I don't think the trust was there. I mean, this is like walking in on your old lady and she's there with your pastor. I mean, this is bad. And honestly, I think, look, had Kiffin came out and said, I'm staying at Ole Miss, everybody would be licking his boots. But it's not the way it happened. And, good luck to him.
Right.
They play at Oxford September 23rd, 2026. And, just get your mustard ready because it's going to be a hell of a game.
David, when you look back over the history of Ole Miss and you talk about who are some of the best coaches to ever coach at Ole Miss, there is literally nobody out there but Ole Miss. But Lane Kiffin. And if he would have won a national championship there would have been nobody that could compare him to. And his money outdid his legacy. He wanted to chase the money rather than cement his legacy as a person, the only person and best coach there at Ole Miss. Because hands down, in my opinion, if he wins a national championship for Ole Miss, he is without a doubt the best coach Ole Miss football has ever had. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I wasn't alive in the late 50s and early 60s when John Vaught was working his magic here in Oxford. And of course, we all know that was a very different game back then.
Right.
Prior to integration and just not the same game. I would venture to say a 5-7 Ole Miss team of today could have beaten any of those national title teams back then.
Right.
And why do I say that? Because their offensive tackles weighed about 230 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And the forward pass was kind of frowned upon. But I disagree with you, Stephen. I don't
Okay.
think this was about money. I think it's all about ego.
Okay.
Ole Miss had the same offer on the table. They were going to pay him upwards of $13 million a year. They had guaranteed him $25 million in NIL funding.
Okay.
To think you walk away from that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But I think it was, if you know Lane Kiffin, and I guess I got to know him as best as anybody could, it's about ego.
Right.
He's very calculated. We all know he's a big analytics guy.
Yeah.
He lives his life by analytics. And he put it all down on paper. Where am I most likely to win a national title?
Right.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, and he went to LSU, but I think that again gets back to his gigantic, enormous, narcissistic ego.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say this, and David, I think you'll agree with me on this. When I hear fans, and this is usually teams that are losing football games and they're getting ready to fire their coach, and it's like his ego gets in the way. His ego this, his ego that. Everybody that is a head coach in football, I don't care if you're talking about peewee football, high school football, college football, or the NFL, every head coach has a massive ego. Mark Richt, how much I loved him and loves the Lord and is a saint of a person, had an ego.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a quality you got to have to be a head coach in football, is that you have to have that ego. And so is Lane's bigger than most? Yes, it is. It absolutely is. But you kind of hit it right there. And I'll leave it with Phil Fulmer. Phil Fulmer, said that there's a lot of coaches out there that have won a national title, but there's very few, hardly any, that have won 2 or more. And Phil Fulmer stuck around and wanted to get back in the game to win that second one. He never got that opportunity.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where this is going with Lane Kiffin. Not only do I want to win one, I want to win multiple. And look, I'm Ole Miss fans, I'm sorry, I'm going to beat up on you. Go and prepare yourself, put up your wall. If I had to set the bar, the betting line at 0.5 of national titles Lane Kiffin was going to win at Ole Miss, or SEC titles, or SEC championship game appearances, I put it at 0.5. I'm taking the under. Because I don't think he's going to do it there in Oxford. And I think that's why he jumped ship. And you said it.
Right.
His ego wants that title. He wants that big ring.
Mm-hmm.
He wants, everyone to see multiple rings. And I think that's where this all went and is going. And I made this joke, David, and I hope Ole Miss fans will laugh on this. I made this joke here 2 weeks ago on the show. I said, how funny would it be if Lane Kiffin takes this LSU job and then his head coach for LSU for like 10 days and then takes over the Giants job and connects with Jackson Dart again and is coaching back in the NFL. His ego could possibly do something like that. It would not shock anybody.
Very much could happen. I don't know. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. I've been covering Ole Miss since the days of Houston Nutt.
Right.
And I had a great relationship with every head coach. And guys, I think my friend Chuck Rounsville would tell you the same thing. Every head coach we had great relationships with, except Lane Kiffin. And I mean, it was hard to get to know him. He never called you like Hugh Freeze would. Hugh Freeze would call you sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning. and I got to where anytime it popped up Hugh Freeze, I was like, oh no, oh my God, what have I done this time? But sometimes he'd call you just wanting to talk about recruiting,
Right.
which you appreciated those calls. And no matter if it was 1 o'clock in the morning or whenever, you were going to pick the phone up and talk to him. And my son, Hugh signed my son, and he played a year under Hugh, and then the rest of his career under Matt Luke. And Matt is just a fantastic guy. And he is a good guy, and those are few and far between in college football. Pete Golding is a good guy. But I still stay in touch with Matt, his wife, Ashley.
Right.
They're just great people. Houston was a great person. His daughter Haley worked for me. But getting to know Lane, and my son played for Lane for 6 months, just about near impossible.
Right.
He was a different bird. He's gone. He's not Ole Miss's problem anymore. There's a Twitter account that's, not Ole Miss problems or something. That's just the truth this morning.
Right.
We've got Pete Golding as the head coach, a good guy, an exciting guy, a young guy. He's hungry to prove himself as a head coach. And boy, does he have the stage he's about to enter upon.
Yes.
The college football playoffs. And man, I'm going to tell you, this team, and you guys both know it, and I agree with you. I'd take the under on the 0.5. I agree with you there. And I think that's very well how Lane could have looked at it.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, this team this year has the talent to win it all. They lost on the road in Athens at Georgia by 8 points, a one-score game that they were leading by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. They can beat anybody, period.
Yes.
And I think they're going to go into this thing with long fangs, guys. I really and truly do. I'll go as far as to say, whoever is coming to Oxford in that first round game, and I do think we host, they're going to be in for it.
Yeah.
They're really going to be in for it. The fan base is going to be extremely fired up. The team is going to be extremely fired up. And when Keith Carter met with those players yesterday, I wasn't in the meeting, but getting accounts. And Lane said some kind of, and look, I think it was a lie. He said most of the players wanted me to stay on in that release he put out yesterday. That was not the case.
Right.
At least with the 15 or so guys Keith met with, and then he met with the entire team at 1:00, and applause erupted when he named Pete Golding as the permanent head coach.
Right.
Everybody likes Pete. He's a good guy. I mean, I go in Five Guys Hamburgers a few weeks back on a Friday night, and I look over there, and there's Pete and his son Bentley eating cheeseburgers at Five Guys. I mean, that's the kind of guy he is.
Right.
You're going to look up, and there he is in Kroger or Walmart or something like that. I love Pete Golding. I love this hire. And Pete loves Ole Miss. And I think that I think this is going to work out good, guys. I really do.
David, finally, as we walk out the door, who do you ultimately have winning the SEC championship Saturday in Atlanta, Alabama, or Georgia?
Yeah, I got to go with Kirby Smart.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. And Kalen DeBoer is a great head coach. And if Nick Saban were still on the sidelines, I'd never pick against the Crimson Tide.
Right.
But I do have to tell you, though, I think Kirby Smart and Georgia will redeem themselves and beat Alabama this time around. And I got one final question for you guys.
Okay.
What the heck is buttermilk pie?
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no idea what buttermilk pie is.
And I don't think that's true.
I don't either. That's fake news.
I mean, look, I've been to Alabama a whole bunch, and Stephen, you live over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never went in a restaurant and seen buttermilk pie. What the heck is it? Is it cornbread and buttermilk? I mean, I've had that.
Right.
But I don't know. I figured one of you guys would have looked it up on the internet by now, or your research department, as Heath put it.
Yeah, our crack research staff. Yeah. I'm saving my one free Google Pass. I'm not using it on that one.
Right.
Oh, man.
David, I want to say I made a huge mistake, I do believe. You're no longer with 247 Sports, right?
Well, I am until the end of this month. And then I've got a big surprise as to where my next landing spot is. I think Stephen knows. He may have told you already. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to work hard for 24/7. all the way up until December 31st. And then I will land at my new spot on January 3rd. And man, we're excited. That is the day the Ole Miss men are in Norman, Oklahoma. It is the day after the transfer portal opens. It is a few weeks before the National Signing Day in February, and we've got a lot to write about. The Ole Miss women are at Texas the next day.
Right.
So, yeah, man, we're excited. We are this has been almost a year in the works, and we're pumped up, and we're just I can't tell you what it is yet. Call me offline and I'll let you know. But
Okay.
but yeah, I'm with 24/7 up until December 31st, and then I will be elsewhere. So we're excited about it.
And David, I think some people want to know, at least I do. What's the name of your cat?
Oh, you're not going to believe this, okay? I got to tell you, she's 9 years old. So my 11-year-old named her when she was 2, when we first got her. And she looked around the room, and it was Christmas time. And the Christmas tree was up, and the candy bowls were full. And she named her Frosty Peppermint. So Frosty Peppermint, or FP as she's affectionately known as around the Johnson house. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at. And hey, just to give the listeners a quick update, my health is doing really good.
Good.
I bumped into my oncologist the other day in Kroger. It's amazing who you can see in Kroger, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
But I've got a scan next Monday. It'll be the first one in 6 months. And we talked about that. He feels good that I'm going to be clear. And,
Good.
you know, as far as I feel great. You know, I've talked about this on here before. 25 has been a difficult year. Started off with a foot surgery. Then it started off with a heart cath. Then the heart cath went to open heart surgery, triple bypass. And then, you know, rehabbing from that. And then I find out a month later I have cancer. So then we go to stomach surgery, where they gashed my stomach open to pull the cancer out. They think they got it all. And then we go to chemotherapy. Oh, my gosh, you never want to take chemotherapy. I promise you that.
I believe you.
But, man, yeah, next Monday I'm hoping to get the all clear sign. And, you know, and boom, we're off to the races. So,
Yes, sir.
You know, that's where we're at.
David, we might have to call you Jason Voorhees, because you were on your deathbed with COVID, and then you came roaring back after that. And it seems like everything's trying to take you down with heart cancer and whatever else, your foot. But they can't keep a good man down. And folks, if you don't know David, he is highly respected in the business, and he's more loved and cherished and respected than anything, because he's just a great person. And David, we want you around as long as the good Lord keeps you here. We want you here because you bring so many smiles to so many faces. You do great work, and you're a great guy. And I can't say that enough. I know we've never met face to face, but your reputation precedes you. And a lot of good people in the industry and folks from 247 say nothing but great and high things about you, brother.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate that. And, you know, everything goes to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen.
You know, and I'm trying to watch my language a little better. I'll let a bad word slip every now and then, but you know, I'm a daily prayer, and you know, those are my conversations with the good Lord. And you know, He's not going to put any more on you than you can handle. And you know, I just appreciate every opportunity. He's given me this opportunity on y'all's show right now to give my testimony. And God is great. Our Lord Jesus Christ gave it all for us. And, you know, we're all sinners. And, man, I can't thank Him enough, because, you know, you go through trials to make yourself stronger, to build character. And I truly believe that. And, your reward is awaiting you as long as you are a faithful follower of Jesus Christ. And I am. I do. I totally believe in the power of prayer. So, and I appreciate Rebel Nation, Bulldog Nation, for all the prayers they've given me because, listen, it's kind of funny when I had COVID, Heath. A couple of people had called my wife wanting to start GoFundMe accounts because the hospital bill ended up being around $2 million.
Oh my dear Lord.
Yeah. And, so Yancey Porter, who I worked with at the time, he didn't call and ask anybody. He just went and did it. And in a span of a week and a half, it raised $52,000. And, credit to Baptist Hospital. They forgave most of that bill. And, that was a very trying time and brought our family closer together. So all this has happened this year, piece of cake. We've got Jesus, we've got each other, and I'm still here, and I'm planning on being here for a very long time.
David, as always, have a wonderful week out there covering everything with Ole Miss. Hopefully, you can get just a little bit of rest now as you guys await the playoff decision and where you guys are going to be playing, hosting, or going on the road next week after the conference championship games are over. And we would love to catch up with you a week from today or later on next week to talk about Ole Miss's playoff game there in Oxford.
Stephen, do me a favor and give me a call a little bit later today. There's something I want to talk to you guys about.
Okay, sounds good, man. I definitely will.
David, if you're going to be close to Hernando, you can just come by the house, man.
I'm actually going up to Memphis on Saturday.
Okay.
We are going. My wife and I, we love to thrift shop, and look, we go to Goodwills all the time. We're looking for pottery. Okay. We collect pottery, McCarty's pottery, Peter's pottery, Ettaby's pottery. I've got a house full of it, and sometimes look, I walked in the Goodwill in Oxford here a couple of weeks back, and most of it are just junk plates and bowls and stuff. And boom, I found 2 pieces of McCarty's pottery for $2.99 a plate. They're valued at $300 per plate. So, you just never know what you're going to find.
Yes.
Wow.
And as I've started doing this, I start seeing regulars in there that are doing the same things we are. You go in there and boom, there's the big deal. I never look at the clothes or anything like that. We go straight for the pottery. So, just an old age hobby, I suppose.
My wife looks at pottery, and I go and look at the books.
Yeah. I get you. Our Goodwill in Oxford doesn't carry books any longer. It makes no sense. But they carry a lot of DVDs for some reason. I never look at those. But I'm in there for the plates, the pottery, the unique stuff.
Right.
David, as always, this has been a blast. We love having you on. Have a fun and restful week out there, and we will definitely catch up with you next week, okay?
Give me a call a little later.
All right, we'll do, man. Thank you so much.
David.
Thank you, Heath.
Okay, so guys, that is going to wrap up the Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss. I'm about to run another ad from one of our wonderful advertisers, and Heath, when we return, we are going to be joined by Kevin Bohanna from hogsports.com, who is going to talk with us about Hunter Yurachek hiring Ryan Silverfield from Memphis and some of the Arkansas fans protesting about it yesterday and not being happy about that hire. Kevin Bohanna is on deck with us right after this.
Kevin's a fun dude. Can't wait.
For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. All right, so Heath, let's go on ahead and switch gears because Ole Miss hired Pete Golding yesterday. LSU got Lane Kiffin. Auburn got John Summerall. Alex Golich from South Florida. Florida got John Summerall from Tulane. And Arkansas got Ryan Silverfield from right there in Memphis. There were a lot of Arkansas fans that were not happy with the Ryan Silverfield hire because of his track record there at Memphis. He was there for, I believe it was 6 years, and no AAC championship game appearances. And to talk about the Arkansas situation with Ryan Silverfield being hired, here is our friend from hogsports.com who covers everything Hogs, Mr. Kevin Bohanna. Kevin, how are things with you? And can you believe that you guys finally got a head coach and now y'all are not happy with the hire?
Kevin's already drinking. That should answer your question.
I will say it is coffee. I won't say how many shots of espresso, but it is coffee.
Oh.
Guys, 2 months. 2 months. 2 months and 5 days. 6 days, whatever. 2 months and 2 days of coaching. Okay, we're going to go after Rhett Lashley because we're Arkansas and we can go get a former grad assistant that played here and is from here. He'll sign, no problem. No, he's going to go stay. He's going to stay at SMU because it's easier to win at SMU. He's already been to the playoffs. He's going to compete in the ACC, so that's not going to work. James Franklin got fired. Sweet. He will come to Arkansas because he coached in the SEC before. Wait a minute. He's going to go to Virginia Tech because that's a better situation for him right now. So we're going to lose 9 straight games and have the pick of some pretty good coaches. But Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director at the University of Arkansas, had a problem. He was not transparent in this coaching hire, and that is where the issue was. He played everything close to the vest. The fan base needed something uplifting after a 2-10 season and losing 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
And Ryan Silverfield is not it. Now, Ryan Silverfield is a great guy. Anybody that I've talked to in football circles, and even Dan Wolken came out yesterday and said, look, you got one of the good ones. That's all good and fine. As a football guy, a former coach that covers football, that played, coached, all that good stuff, that's fine. All right. He may win at the University of Arkansas, but it wasn't the spark that Arkansas fans needed.
Right.
They needed something that they could feel hopeful about yesterday.
Yeah. They wanted a splash.
That didn't need to be Nick Saban or any wow name. That just needed to be an Alex Golich that brings a high-flying offense that could do some big things and step on some people's throats. Eric Morris with his QB whispering self that can turn 0 stars into Heisman Trophy contenders. John Summerall, who is just – I think he's a member of the Baton Rouge Mafia. Now he's got to go to Gainesville. So can you believe that Florida fans were upset about that hire?
I know.
After what that young man has done. I can call him a young man. He's younger than me. But, so that leaves Arkansas with Silverfield. Now, Ryan Silverfield interviewed early on. He wanted the job at the University of Arkansas. They're like, well, we're going to interview some more people, see what happens. And everything happened around Lane Kiffin. I mean, you talked to David. You understand how this happens. Once it became evident that he was going to go to LSU, that started the wheels in motion. So I was happy that Ole Miss, got Pete Golding. That was their best option after, everything had already happened yesterday. Auburn offered Golish $500,000 more in contract. 7.4, I think, is what he's going to get at Auburn, and 6.9 was what he was going to get at Arkansas. So he took what was best for his family and made that decision. But Sumrall getting to Florida and away from Auburn is what got Golish to Auburn and ultimately Silverfield to Arkansas.
Kevin, I do want to ask you briefly because I have thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
You talked about for 2 months that you guys have been trying to hire a coach. And during that time, Hunter Yurachek became the committee chair of the college football playoff this year. Do you think that played into a part of the hiring process, that he was focused too much on being a part of the college football playoff committee and didn't fully focus on the Arkansas head coaching job?
It will be used as an excuse that it was, disorganized or, anything, whatever label you want to put on it. It will be put on there. But he wasn't the only one conducting interviews. They had, Kevin Scanlon, who's the head of the Razorback Foundation, who I've known for almost all my life. He was my first baseball coach back in T-ball when I was 5 and 6 years old. So then they had some board of trustees members, former Razorback players that were part of the committee as well. So while Hunter Yurachek was, the point person for it, supposedly they interviewed 22 different candidates. Whether how deep that got, who knows? But Silverfield, they did conduct a couple interviews with. Golish, they did as well. Right. The first time they met with Golish, it wasn't. Golish was like, "Oh, okay." It wasn't really that big of a deal. Once they went back to him and said, "Hey, we really want to do this," all the fan outrage yesterday and the protest, right, which there were about 25, 30 people there, and they were standing on there looking at their phones most of the time. So it wasn't
with bags on their head.
Yeah, I mean, it's a millennial protest. Activism in 2025 is real. So, all that fan outrage was pointed at Hunter Yurachek, and conversely me for reporting the news yesterday. I got, had to tell my mom to, now don't go look at social media today because there's going to be a lot of mad people. Right. But you say that, and there were a lot of there's a lot of talk yesterday about Arkansas fans being upset, but the Instagram post announcing Ryan Silverfield had over 15,000 likes. So it's not everybody, right. It's probably a small portion, but the outrage was in your face yesterday and everywhere, it seems. So,
yeah, we'll dive into that later. We'll bring you back during the summer for sure and talk about this, because there's this over vocal minority in every fan base. And for some reason, sometimes the administration caves to them. And I'm like, this is not what the majority wants. This is a small minority. They're just super vocal on social media and everywhere. And yeah, I could get 200 people to say that, they hate the color red.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to change our colors now. No, you don't. Only 200 people hate the color red. Let's keep everything the same. Well, all these people on social media, just ignore them and move on. They'll get over it. They'll be mad about something 15 minutes from now. Who cares?
Exactly.
Are they going to change the watermelons from being red? No, they're not. Let's move on. So, I get with the super minor vocal minority crying, and that's what they are, crybabies. But who did those minority crybabies think were going? Who do they think they were going to get as a coach?
Yeah, and that's where you start looking at the list of names that were available, or that they wanted a P4 Power 4 coach that was a program builder. But you're 2-10, and you just had your third 2-10 season in 8 years. You're not going to get Matt Campbell would have fit that profile. I mean, yeah, that they could have done that and got Campbell down to Fayetteville, but evidently that didn't pick up any steam. Pat Fitzgerald wouldn't have done anything, and he was super successful. We talked about it on this show. His record in one-score games was unrealistic.
35.
Yeah. So they wanted Calipari screwed the pooch, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Then we're going to believe John Calipari.
It was like, all right, we can do this for football too. Crap. I mean, that's what happened. So unrealistic expectations, guys. That's where the disconnect is.
Kevin, who are some names that were on the list that you think might have wanted the job that didn't get hired?
I think Eric Morris wanted the job. Gus Malzahn wanted the job. Even with Gus brought in at a late date, which was 2 weeks ago, and he interviewed on a Wednesday. Silverfield was one of the early ons that really checked all the boxes. And Bray Cook, who was a former Razorback and was a GA under Silverfield at Memphis when he was the O-line coach in 2018, 2019, when Norvell was still there, really talked about the fundraising efforts that Silverfield, spearheaded in terms of getting the facilities upgraded, getting the Liberty Bowl upgraded, which, the University of Memphis hadn't seen too much of. Justin Fuente, came in and really laid the foundation, and Norvell really kind of took it to the next level. The expectation was that Silverfield was going to do the same thing. And, he was 29-9 over the last 3 years, but there's a talk about, he didn't get to a conference championship game. Hell, Ole Miss has never been to one. I know it's the SEC versus the AAC and all that, but there's a lot of teams that don't get to a conference championship. I mean, you got to let this thing play out, guys. I mean, he had success. He did things the right way. And it's not the splashy, it's not the flashy, but you got to get behind him.
All right, and Kevin, as we walk out the door, because I know that you've got another hit coming up at 9:30, who do you ultimately have winning the SEC this season? You got Alabama or you got Georgia and Atlanta on Saturday?
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to get a little bit of revenge in that one. Kirby Smart. I think DeBoer is kind of, I don't know. There's Penn State chatter around him, and what could happen with that? I think it's going to be funny when Lane Kiffin tells LSU, "Sorry, I'm going to go to Alabama next. I'm good."
Oh my gosh!
Can I get a plane to Tuscaloosa? Joking, of course, but no, really, it's going to happen. But I just think after watching Alabama this weekend, and Auburn, gave them a game. Alabama is just not the consistent beast that they have been, and Georgia still is.
Yes.
All right, Kevin, I want to ask you this because I know you got to go.
Yeah.
You're an outsider. You don't have a dog in the fight, so it doesn't really matter. I just want to hear your take on it. If you're in that situation at Ole Miss, do you let Lane Kiffin coach in the playoff like he wants to do and you have a better chance of winning? Or would you rather have less chance of a winning and cut off your nose, spite your face, because you just want to separate yourself from him and worried that he's recruiting against you and it's going to be a 3.5-hour LSU commercial during the game, although he could win 2 or 3 games in the playoff?
Yeah, you can't. You just can't do that. Keith Carter can't do that. He couldn't. And I'm of that opinion that you can't allow a sitting head coach to be the head coach of 2 teams in the postseason. You just can't. That's just something that it was going to be tough. And I know Lane wanted to see it through because he got Ole Miss to a spot that they had never been to before. He made history. Now, he could have chosen to finish that history. He could have chose to still elevate that. That was on him to make that decision. Keith Carter said, look, if you want to be here, be here. If not, we got to separate. And I think he did it the only way he could. The right thing that Carter did yesterday, and he's an Arkansas guy from Perryville, Arkansas, great basketball player. Was Pete Golding. I think they did a great job of, for long-term stability and keeping those kids excited about moving forward. Look, they're on a path right now. So I think Golding and Joe Judge is going to give them having Kiffin not there there's going to be an element that they miss out on, but they are the most stable that they could be in any situation since he left. I think he did a great job with that.
There you go.
Evan, as always, thank you for joining us all season long. You are always welcome here on the Stingray Show. Merry Christmas to you and yours, and we will definitely catch up with you later on, my friend.
And hey, thanks to Coach Cal, you might be here like multiple times a week until March.
Yeah, tell me about it. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you down the road.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Brother.
Yep.
Okay, so Heath, what do you want to talk about post-show? Because I've got something that I want to talk about.
If there's any fan comments, and hey, anyone listening right now, if you got any feedback about the Kiffin situation, anything you want to say, you would let him coach, you wouldn't let him coach. You like the hire, Pete Golding, you don't like the hire, whatever you want to talk about. Say anything that you want. We'll talk about that. I got some things I want to say about Lane Kiffin, but Steven, I think this is going to be one of the best post shows we got. Let's see. He may not rest.
Yeah.
He may not rest, K-Bug.
Right.
I'm telling you, I made this joke on the show 2-3 weeks ago. I'm not going to be shocked if he ends up coaching the New York Giants here in January. Like, I won't be shocked if he's head coach of LSU for 10 days. Like, that won't shock me at all. I called it 2 weeks ago. I was like, he's going to do this, that. And he's like, I'll never sign the contract, so you can't really hold me to this job, LSU. Like, I don't expect that to happen, but I won't be shocked if it does.
All right. So me personally, this is what I want to talk about because there's nobody else out there. We will talk about this right after this commercial.
Oh, John.
That right there, man. Kentucky waited way too late.
Yeah.
Way too late. So
Steven, we got a commercial to run, or then we start talking this with John?
Yep, we will do this right after this commercial, and then we'll talk about who Kentucky is going to hire because the candidates are just like that.
I can't wait to get Nick Roush on later this week. I wish we had him.
There's nothing like rivalry week in college football. Our friends at J&J Apparel have released 2 awesome designs for 2 of the best rivalry matchups in the South. The Egg Bowl 2025 shirt features a hand-drawn design of the Golden Egg Trophy, available in colors for both Rebels and Bulldog fans. And of course, there's the Iron Bowl 2025 design for our Alabama and Auburn fans. Both shirts are available for a limited time only, so run on over to J&J Apparel's site and get it while you still can. The pre-sale ends December the 1st. Don't miss out. Shop at jnjapparel.net. Once again, that is jnjapparel.net for the Egg Bowl 2025 shirt and the Iron Bowl 2025 shirt, available through J&J Apparel. And I do want to mention with that ad right there, the sale runs through midnight tonight. So you still got all day to make those purchases of the Egg Bowl and Iron Bowl trophy shirts. All right, so this, of course, Heath, is the post-show. And I'm going to tell you what, first off, I'm sorry for cutting you off there going to the commercial. I will definitely try to get Nick Roush on during this week to talk about this. But Heath, ultimately, Kentucky had to make a change because the Florida win was the only home SEC win for Kentucky in the last 2 seasons. It was definitely heading in the wrong direction at Kentucky, and Mark Stoops, even after his cocky and arrogant comments after the blowout loss to Louisville on Saturday, it was time for him to go.
Oh, Steven, this will make you laugh. I just typed in Kentucky shortlist hot board football coaches. AI had something to say. Are you ready?
Sure.
Kentucky has not released any official hot board, but early speculation for the new football coach includes offensive-minded candidates Will Stein and Brian Hartline, and seasoned leaders with SEC experience like Les Miles and Dan Mullen.
Or like our friend John just said, what about this one?
Here's the thing. Kevin was up against a break. We had to get Kevin out of here. He had another show. But Gus Malzahn interviewed at Mississippi State very early in the process. And Gus was a leader in that after they fired Zach Arnett here a couple of seasons ago. And then like a week into it, Gus took his name off himself.
Right.
And said he wasn't interested. And so that kind of shocked some people. At the end, he leaves Central Florida, takes the offensive coordinator position there at Florida State, and now he wants to be a head coach again. And so, shockingly, Gus wanting that Arkansas job didn't shock me that he wants it, but he was a head coach. He interviewed for an SEC job, took a step back, went and became a coordinator, and I thought, well, Gus is just kind of going to ride out his time. He wants to coach, but he doesn't want to do all the head coaching duties. Well, now he's missed it, and now he wants to come back. And yeah, but dude, Gus Malzahn at Kentucky, that could be fun, Stephen.
Yeah,
that could be a lot of fun. I don't think it will happen,
right?
But I think it would be fun. Les Miles at Kentucky will be a nightmare.
Yeah,
it will be a nightmare. Dan Mullen at Kentucky. That could be fun. That could be fun. I think Dan Mullen can win at Kentucky. And I think he could stay there for, probably as long as Stoops. He could stay there anywhere from 8, 10, 12 years. So, yeah. But you know what, Stephen? I just thought about this. Stoops was the dean of SEC coaches. He had been around longer than anybody else. So I'm guessing now it's
Kirby.
Kirby?
Yes.
Wow. This is insane, Stephen. Kirby Smart, dean of the SEC head coaches. Wow. Interesting. Stephen, who do you think they should go after?
I don't know, but I will say this. I did see a stat earlier that when Ross Bjork, who was the former athletic director at Texas A&M, he tried to pull Mark Stoops away from Kentucky to go to A&M after they fired Jimbo Fisher. And Mark Stoops did not take the job, or A&M pulled out of that deal. That soured a lot of Kentucky fans toward Mark Stoops. And since that time, that was 2 years ago, Mark Stoops went 7-16 during the next 2 seasons at Kentucky.
Yeah, I think Kentucky, or excuse me, A&M pulled out, and it kind of left Stoops there on the island, and a lot of upset people.
Yeah.
And you hate that. I think Stoops could have won at A&M, but I don't think he could have done the job that Elko was doing.
No.
I think they would be Texas 8-4.
Yeah.
That's always been the joke on the show that we call Texas A&M Texas 8-4. I think Stoops would have consistently been 8-4 at A&M. Hey, Stephen, 11 hours ago, Adam Luckett wrote an article on 3 and said this is the hot board list. He's got Neil Brown, Bob Chesney, the James Madison head coach.
Yeah.
Sonny Dykes, TCU head coach. I don't see Sonny Dykes leaving TCU.
No.
PJ Fleck, Minnesota head coach. I know you're a huge PJ Fleck fan.
Yes, row the boat.
You know what? If you could throw a lot of money, I think he might consider it.
Right.
I think he might consider it. Ryan Grubb, Alabama offensive coordinator. Brian Hartline, Ohio State offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Colin Klein, Texas A&M offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So those are some names being thrown around. But I think it is interesting that the very first one that they put was Neil Brown, who has a reputation and a relationship with Kentucky. Right now he's at Texas. He's the special assistant to the head coach. So it's going to be interesting to see. Is it going to be one of those names? I don't know. But I do know this. I learned one thing here in the last few minutes. Don't ask AI who you think the next head coach will be at any given school, because you'll get names like Les Miles.
That would be awful. All right, so Heath, that is going to wrap up the Monday morning edition of the Stingray Show. I really do want to thank David Johnson and Kevin Bohanna for joining us. I also want to thank all of our loyal listeners and our watchers here on social media, and for all of you that did comment here on Facebook and over on YouTube as well. And we will return on Wednesday morning, because tomorrow I have an event that I'm going to, so there will be no show on Tuesday morning. However, we will return on Wednesday morning with a preview of the SEC championship game between Alabama and Georgia. And then on Thursday, we will do a preview of the the Big Ten championship game between Indiana and Ohio State. So that is what is on deck here on the Stingray Show. And guys, we will see you bright and early on Wednesday morning. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday, a wonderful Tuesday out there, and we will catch you on down the line. Heath, any final words?
Happy holidays, brother. We got, 24 days to Christmas?
Yes.
Don't be that guy. Don't set a goal for yourself, guys. Set a goal like, hey, by December 10th, I'm having everything done and wrapped. That gives you 9 days. That gives you a week and a half. Just do it. Just do it. Get it out of the way, and don't stress everybody out.
All right, and I will leave you guys with this 2 final comments as we wrap up the show. John Stringer said, have a blessed week. Thank you for that. You as well, John. And then, of course, K-Bug said, great show. Thank you for all of your support, and we will catch you on the Wednesday edition of the Stingray Show. Heath, be safe and try to catch up from being off last week on vacation.
Dude, I got so much work, it's not even funny. I'll be working probably past midnight tonight. It's not even funny, all the stuff I got to do.
All right.
Thanks for depressing me, Steven.
Hey, and I will say this, the post-show conversation, I have already decided what it's going to be on Wednesday. I want you to get your thoughts together. Does Vanderbilt deserve a shot if things, continue to work out? Do they deserve a shot for the 12-team playoff?
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely. I don't even think about that one. Absolutely, they do. And they deserve it more than Texas. I know Texas beat them, but they deserve it more than Texas.
All right. And we will discuss that on Wednesday.
About that. Yeah. Much in detail. Steven, would you let Lane Kiffin coach the last game?
No.
You would let him coach the postseason? Okay.
No.
If winning is the name of the game, I think you need to have the best available to win. And I think Lane Kiffin gives you the best chance to win. I understand the decision. I understand the thinking and reasoning. But if you want to win, I think you need him.
All right. So, guys, we will catch you Wednesday, and we will see you then.
Be good, Steve.
For over 100 years, the Bank of Moundville has been a name clients can trust. The Bank of Moundville is more than just a bank. They're your neighbors, your friends, and your community partners. Their unique approach to financial education has always centered around families. They believe that financially strong homes today lay the foundation for a brighter futures for tomorrow's generation. You can call them today at 205-371-2227. Once again, that is 371-2227 to schedule an appointment to build your financial security. The Bank of Moundville is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. We all enjoy the changing of the seasons. Fall is a special time to be thankful for our families and many blessings. It is also a great time, though, to review your insurance coverages. Alpha Insurance and hometown agent Jeff Nee can help you personalize your insurance needs. The more you protect, the more you save. With helpful customer service teams right here to serve you in Alabama and over in Mississippi, you can count on Alpha to provide the insurance plan that provides the protection that you need. For all your auto, home, life, and business insurance needs, call Alpha agent Jeff Nee or drop by his office at 202 McFarland Boulevard East, Suite 101 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And remember, with Jeff Nee, the more you protect, the more you save. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Ferguson of South's Finest Meats, the official sponsor of the Stingray Show, has a message for you.
Everything we do here is fresh and custom made, custom to order. I tell people when they come in, if you don't see what you like, ask somebody. We've got the capability to process it, make it. If you want a different blend of hamburger meat, we'll do your brisket blend. We'll do your chuck blend. We'll do your sirloin blend. We do all that right here. We are a butcher shop. It's what we do. So please don't be afraid to ask if you don't see what you like. We can make you any size patty you want. We can make you any amount you want. People call me and say, well, how many patties come in the box? Well, ma'am, how many would you like in a box? You want 12, we'll put 12. You want 25, we'll put 25.
That's just one of the many things that South's Finest Meats has to offer, the official butcher shop of the Stingray Show. There's nothing like rivalry week in college football. Our friends at J&J Apparel have released two awesome designs for two of the best rivalry matchups in the South. The Egg Bowl 2025 shirt features a hand-drawn design of the Golden Egg Trophy, available in colors for both Rebels and Bulldog fans. And of course, there's the Iron Bowl 2025 design for our Alabama and Auburn fans. Both shirts are available for a limited time only, so run on over to J&J Apparel's site and get it while you still can. The pre-sale ends December the 1st. Don't miss out. Shop at jnjapparel.net. Once again, that is jnjapparel.net for the Egg Bowl 2025 shirt and the Iron Bowl 2025 shirt, available through J&J Apparel. And the final thing that I will say this morning, with the J&J Apparel shirt for both the Bulldog Egg Bowl Trophy and the Iron Bowl Trophy, the pre-sale runs through midnight tonight. So you've still got time to go place your orders for both the Egg Bowl and the Iron Bowl Trophy shirts through midnight tonight, and we will see y'all on Wednesday.